Surprising us by seemingly to come out of nowhere, the Funkoverse strategy game is a tactical battle game that has scenario-driven combat between characters from all these different universes. When you buy a box, you're going to get all the characters you need to have a battle, including items and other stuff that we're going to go over, but what's really neat is that even though these boxes are self-contained, the system is cross-compatible. So you can make a situation where Voldemort and the Joker team up to fight Rick and Morty. Or, if you're more like us, you'll kind of get obsessed with the fact that you can totally fight as the Golden Girls. Funkoverse strategy game is a fairly straightforward tactical combat game. In it, two teams of opposing characters, and again, they don't all have to come from the same universe, will square off in either a battle royale or some scenario-based combat, which might be, sort of like capture the flag or that sort of thing, which gives you different objectives. But the basics of the gameplay are these. On your team's turn, you will activate one of your characters. Characters can only be activated once per round, and you'll take two actions. And actions are either moving, attacking, performing other basic scenario-based actions, or using a character's special powers. And there should be sort of a card up here somewhere maybe that has some character power on it. What's really, really cool about the mechanisms in this game is something called the cooldown track. Basically, every time you use one of your character's special powers, you will spend one of their ability tokens, and that token goes on cooldown for a number of rounds, depending on how powerful the effect is. And so, for example, if you use Batman's POW ability to take a big swing and deal lots of damage, that puts your red token on cooldown for, I think, 3 turns. And what that means is that that ability is unavailable, but also other abilities that use that red token are equally unavailable until that token comes off of the cooldown track. And what that means for Batman is that if you've used POW and it's on cooldown, you're not going to be able to use your Relentless ability, which is really quite terrifying because it basically lets him get back up from being knocked down over and over and over again, which makes sense because he's Batman. This simple sort of cooldown mechanic makes it so that these characters can have a wide variety of abilities and lots of different effects without cluttering the game with tons of different fussy mechanisms. It's real simple. You use an ability or you get knocked down, and then either your token or even your character goes on cooldown, and every turn that track ticks down, and as things come off the track, they re-enter the game. Combat's easy to understand, too, with dice representing hits, blocks, and special effects, and there are even items like Harley's mallet that aren't just built into the figurines. They can actually be detached and given to other characters, stolen, or swapped around. Overall, the Funkoverse strategy game is a pretty accessible but very playable take on the whole tactical combat thing. And one of the things that it really has going for it is not only are the characters the as collectible as Funko Pops are, although admittedly in these sort of slightly more miniature form, the special powers that each character has feel very emblematic of those characters. Voldemort throws really, really nasty spells. Batman is relentless. He keeps getting up over and over again. And so, even though it's not an incredibly deep lore-based system or anything like that, you do get the feel of these characters and how they would fight, especially once you start mashing them together, which is probably the most fun thing about it. Now, a quick word on component quality, because Funkoverse game is excellent as far as that goes. The miniatures, unsurprisingly, are really, really nicely made. They've got the signature giant head. Each of them is very distinctly their character, but beyond just the actual figurines themselves, the dice are nice and etched, the tokens are heavy and pre-punched, the gems for marking different things are unique, actually. I haven't seen these in too many games. Depending on which set you get, components have a variety variety of colors, and overall, just the quality here is excellent. So, on the whole, I have to say, we were pleasantly surprised by what we found here when we started checking out the Funkoverse strategy game. And the reason I just say surprised is just because when you have a property as popular as Funko Pops, it might be tempting to just like slap a game together and call it a day. But there's a real game here. The mechanics are actually really easy to engage and fun to engage. It's a way that people who may not necessarily be into strategy or tactical combat games are going to be able to kind of get excited, especially if they're into the different universes that these characters are being drawn from. And on the whole, with the production as high as it is, and with the gameplay as smooth as it is, we think that this is actually a pretty easy recommendation for anybody who likes Funko Pops, or likes lighter strategy board games, or hopefully has a real appreciation for the different universes. So, like, if somebody's a big Rick and Morty fan, definitely check out the version of the game that features the two of them, because you can have a fight, again, I cannot stress this enough, where Rick Sanchez and Voldemort and Blanche from the Golden Girls get together and beat the tar out of Harry Potter and Batman and Hermione, and I think that's awesome, and that's it. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our reviews, go ahead and click on either of these playlists. And if you'd like to subscribe to Gameosity, go ahead and click that G, and consider ringing the bell too to get notifications when we publish a new video. And if you like our work and want to consider supporting us, check out the link for our Patreon right below. It got weird at the end. Sorry.